eRacing GP Season 7, Round 2 of 3. We are approaching the Christmas break, but we've got some eRacing for you. Alex Young alongside Des Corkell. Amo Hazik to join us in a short while for the commentary box for the Gold Edition. And Alex Young, a very, very international field for us to celebrate.
Absolutely. You know, with the copper, bronze, and silver, it's just a regional challenge for Asia-Pacific-based drivers. But for gold, you know, it's a worldwide. We invite drivers from all around the world to compete. The best drivers, actually, especially in the race room platform, in world touring cars as well, because we are driving WTCR cars for silver and gold. These unique front-wheel drive touring cars are very tricky to get on top of and require quite a bit of skill to do that.
One man, Alessandro Otobiani. He certainly showed that he's got the skill to do that. A double winner, back-to-back wins in round 1 that was around the Aragon circuit last week. If you repeat that kind of form, he's a near shoe-in for the championship already.
Yeah, he's going to be very hard to beat. You know, there's some other Europeans joining us as well, which would be great to watch. But yes, we are looking forward to this race. But like you said, Alessandro will be the guy to beat. Why don't we check out the highlights from round 1 last week?
5 lights on the gantry, and we're underway. Green lights are out, and looks as though Otobiani's actually gotten a great start in the Cupra. He's got a whole shot coming to turn 1 with Sebastian Rink following him in 2nd place. So TX3 and AM right in front, just like in the actual race room European competitions. Somebody has actually made out the third, but no. Brody Stevens actually punched his way through into 3rd place. Gonna make it to the corner better. And looks as though Anton dives one onto the inside of Steen, and he gets back across for the cutback. But that's going to be a bit of a mistake because, look at that, side by side, and the guy on the inside will definitely have the advantage, and Steen there got hung out to dry.
Otobiani's definitely struggling right now. If Ree could just get a good launch out of the next left-hander, he could be challenging him down the back straight.
Oh, we got to stay on this, coming through now, turn 14 and 15. Who's going to get a better exit? It looks as though Otobiani just got a bit of a better exit that time round.
Wow, okay, so, but he's got to defend. He's got to close to the area. There he goes. Goes to the inside, takes a slow down penalty. Oh, he's braking late. He's braking super late.
Oh, that's a hit. That's a massive hit. We heard a lock up there from Ree, and looks as though we thought that he was going to break it in time. We thought that Otobiani is going to go off, but Otobiani has actually survived that particular onslaught, and he will take victory. And look at that, Ree has actually been overtaken by Anton. So Otobiani is going to win the first race of gold for Season 7. As we go now for the green light, and we only have 5 drivers on the grid actually. Oh wait, they're actually slowly spawning. For the time being at least, Sumbadibia has gotten the start that he wanted, and he is up in front ahead of Voltaire Seiko with Tony in 3rd, I'm Isaac 4th, and Sebastian Ree, who will be very disappointed with that end of the first race, in 5th. So the main protagonists now are making their way through with Otobiani in that very visible green and blue car, already making his way up to 10th. Otobiani looks one on the inside of Seiko.
Oh!
Seiko, he actually barges his way through Tonyan, and Otobiani gets the both of them, almost actually, because you can see Seiko still there, side by side of them coming through the last corner, and looks as though, yep, Otobiani gets it. Cupra is actually that good. Oh, but he might just be able to do so here. Nope.
But Sumbadibia is not driving well at all. I've seen a couple laps now, and I don't think it's his tire wear. He's just putting the car all in the wrong place, and in the end, making it very easy for Otobiani.
And also likewise, it's going to make it easy for Imazi because that run out of the turn 14-15 complex has actually stifled his momentum. And now, yes, despite he's gotten a bit of a slipstream from Otobiani, Imazi actually has the better gap between these two. He's going to dive one on the inside. Coming through turn 16, does he make it? Yes, he does. 17 and now 18. This is the final lap. So despite a tough second race, where he had to overtake a lot of drivers and tried to throw conservation out the window, he comes across the line and takes victory here. Alessandro Otobiani becomes the first double winner in all the classes this season, and look at that, a very good morning for him from the Saturday that he's having here in Italy.
And the standings, Alessandro Otobiani with 47 points, back-to-back wins, the best of Southeast Asia. Inigo Anton from the Philippines with 31, but look at that international cast. Sebastian Rey from Germany on 27, the Aussie of Brody Steen on 18 points, and Alessandro Tonyan, a new name for us, with 10 points for Italy. So a real credit for you, Alex. We have genuinely got an international field in eRGP. In terms of the Teams Cup Championships, it's the Philippines who are doing the very best. Sim Racing Filipinas accumulating 100 points over the 4 class of racing, with 7-Star Garage also from Philippines accumulating 74 points. DRT Motorsports third with 69. And in the National Nations Cup Championship, Philippines 170 points, Malaysia 165. That is going to be pretty tight throughout the 3 rounds. Singapore will need to get some points on the board in this round, and they've got 1 or 2 already. They'll need a few more. And the Italians, well, we're going to see the best of Italy coming up in the gold edition that is coming up in just a few minutes' time.
And I tell you what, Philippines drivers won a lot of races today, so I think they're going to extend their advantage in the Nations Cup, so they'll be tough to beat indeed. Okay, so we're back to the gold class, and you know, we saw the silver class. These are the same cars as we used in the silver class, and you can see the Renault was popular, the Alfa was popular, but now we come to the gold class, and we see some of the pros from Europe's coming in, and they're using the Seat Cupra, so they prefer the Cupra. And of course, you got Inigo Anton there, the DHL Audi. He prefers the Audi. So some different different car selections as we go from silver to gold.
But they've all got the same front-wheel drive, which is a little bit awkward for the racers to work with. Is it something that European racers are more familiar with? Is it just something of geography? Or how does it work? Why are the Europeans coming in?
Kind of becomes a bit fashionable. Which sort of cars you enjoy to drive? These front-wheel drive cars are popular on the racing game, but not so much here in Asia, except for Hong Kong. Hong Kong, Macau, Taiwan, they love driving these cars. So often we see a lot of drivers from Hong Kong coming in and doing very well. But the rest of Southeast Asia, I think they prefer driving rear-wheel drive cars, a bit more power, a bit more fun. So you could say, I mean, the front-wheel drive cars are very finicky to drive. It's a different driving style completely from, say, a single-seater. And it does require certain knowledge. That's why you see some of the old guys in the real-life World Championships still winning. When Tarquini, he won his last World Touring Car Championship at the age of 55, I think. So it does that certain knowledge you have with the car definitely helps. It's not such a popular car for Southeast Asia. And that's why the Europeans come in here and do very well.
We are going around the Hungaroring, and we have got a Hungarian on the circuit for the first time. Saba Varga from the Dallas Esports team in the Audi. He will be racing. But before we talk about Saba, before we talk about Hungarian races, let's talk about the Hungaroring circuit, which the racers will be going round. And it's an interesting, fascinating circuit. It was the first Grand Prix from behind the old Iron Curtain, as was.
Yeah.
Nearly 4.5 kilometers wide. But a strange old circuit, and in that it looks like it should be easy to overtake on, but it's absolutely not.
Yeah, if you look at the bottom of the graphic, you see the start-finish line at the very bottom. It's clockwise. It is an interesting track. It's hard to overtake, like you mentioned. You have to get your elbows out to try and do it. And we will see a lot of argy-bargy today, I think, especially in the reverse grid race. It should be exciting.
Now then, as for Saba Varga, what do you know about Mr. Varga, Alex Young? Her first Hungarian that we've had. It's great to have that. We mentioned the Italians. We've got obviously Sebastian Rey, the German, coming back for the second week, but this is the first time that we've been able to introduce somebody from Eastern Europe and the Hungarians. Great to have them on board.
Dallas Esports team. So he's going to be a very quick driver. He's going to be one of these drivers to watch out today. There are quite a few of them that are there. Hudjek as well. Sebastian Rey is still here. You know, we saw Sebastian do really well last round, where he almost finished challenge for the win. He had contact at the very last corner on the last lap with Otobiani, where he tried to get off the win, but he had a puncher. We had times 4 tyre wear in round 1. Let's not forget. So punches were not unexpected. But now we're here in round 2, and the tyre wear and fuel is at times 2 for both. So tyre wear shouldn't be an issue right now, and Ammo will talk us through all this anyway. Ammo is really the expert in this front-wheel drive touring cars.
Okay, but before we get on to Ammo, he'll come on in just a while. Let's talk about some of the racers who are a little bit from a closer to home. Scotty Lee from Macau Motorsports Z Challenger, racing out of Hong Kong. But Scotty Lee, a newish name as far as I'm concerned.
Well, actually, he was with us in Global Edition 1. One of those drivers from Hong Kong did really well. And I've seen him race, and in that Global Edition 1 we're using GT3 cars, but he really loves these front-wheel drive touring cars. So he's second quickest at the moment, and I'm expecting some nice surprises from Scotty Lee.
And Ayman Hazik, Amo's doppelganger nickname. Ayman has done pretty well. We know that he's capable of getting on podiums. We don't see him there perhaps as often as we should do, but always competitive, always top 6, top 7.
Yeah. Round 1 last week, he looked a little bit undercooked. He didn't seem his usual self. I expected him to be a bit more competitive. I think we will see that today. I hopefully we'll see the real Ayman Hazik out today. And if we do see him, then he'll be challenging for podiums. Who knows? Maybe even race wins.
Still accumulated 22 points last week, so was 4th in the championship. But the best of the Asian racers, Inigo Anton from GT Radial Eurasia Motorsport. And how's he been adapting to this front-wheel drive?
Completely new to him. I was actually talking to him earlier in the week. He was asking for tips on how to drive. Blind leading the blind, really. But yes, he's very, very talented, isn't he? He has not won a Global Edition. He's finished 3rd, I think is the best he's finished. He's second in the championship right now. I'm not sure how much practice he's been able to put in, because I know he's been practicing for Virtual Le Mans and Indonesia this week. So I also don't think he'll be as practiced or as ready as some of the other drivers on the grid. But very, very talented, and you can never write him off.
Second in the overall championship standings, Otobiani was the outstanding competitor last week, and Otobiani once again will be the man to beat. In fact, Otobiani has got the fastest time in practice, just a 1:51.435, a full 0.6 quicker than Scotty Lee, and Inigo a further 0.2 down on that as well. So Otobiani, clearly, I remember when he came in last year, you were absolutely thrilled to bits that somebody of his quality came in. We never saw that quality in season 6.
Yeah.
We saw it in one race. He won one race.
Yeah.
But in season 7, last week, wow, that's Alessandro Otobiani.
Yeah, so Otobiani in season 6, he did struggle, didn't he? Season 5, he had that great race win at Aragon, actually, where he showed us how good he is. But yeah, he was quiet in season 6. Now in Global Edition 7, though, we saw what a bang last week. Wow, he's just almost untouchable, really. And looking at his lap times now, 0.6 quicker than anyone else. He's going to be really hard to beat today.
Okay, time to introduce Amo Hazik into the discussion. Amo, great commentary earlier on today. We're now on to the Gold Boys, and Haris Zephi is there, but let's start with Alessandro Otobiani, and maybe you can talk us around the Hungaroring circuit and the difficulties that the drivers face with this front-wheel drive.
Indeed, and we saw plenty of times that there was some maneuvers that they had to really check second by the cherry to get it done, but we'll actually talk about it later. Right now, we're on board Otobiani in the Cupra coming out to turn 1. This is actually one of the hardest braking zones on the entire circuit, so really a lot of overtaking maneuvers can be done here. Through turn 1, about second gear, exiting on a little bit wide onto the AstroTurf to actually get a better exit, because most touring cars, you need a wider radius to get onto the power and try to get a better exit out of it. Now top to turn 2. We saw some overtaking maneuvers here as well. Otobiani taking a very tight line before he opens up the car, coming out to turn 3, using the curb on the inside a bit slightly to get the car launched up to turn 4. A bit of a short straight before coming up to turn 4 now. Touching curve here as we changed to Inigo Anton, incidentally, for a while. So I guess we had to cut that lap a bit short and into the other Cupra. Now we're back to Otobiani.
My fault.
No problem. So back to Otobiani, coming up to that slightly parabolic turn 5. Again, we saw some overtaking maneuvers. You had to barge drivers out of the way to actually get through. So hopefully in the Gold class, never mind, we can hopefully jump to another car to actually continue the final lap. Inigo Anton is one of those drivers, and he has impressed so far. A completely different car for him, but it's not a complete stranger in terms of what kind of car he's driven, because he drives touring cars in real life. So through turn 10, 11, this is the crucial part of the turn, crucial part of the sector where you had to get that mid-corner entry speed up so that you could carry the speed coming through turn 12. Heartbreaking point, another overtaking spot if you're in the touring car. Faster cars may not be possible. Turn 13, another slow corner around this track where you're gonna have to point and squid a bit slightly because you need a wider radius, as I said earlier. Then up to turn 14, once again, yes, hugs the inside line. You need a bit of a wider entry, but then cuts across to actually go through the start-finish line, and it looks as though Anton may get provisional pole, and he does, by about 0.2 in front of Hujek.
Yeah, provisional pole it was. Apologies for mucking you around with the competitors. I'm not quite sure what happened there. Hujdecker's got himself into P3 because Varga, the Hungarian, got himself into P2. Now, it's a debut for Varga. It's a debut for Hujdecker as well. But they are 3/10 down on Inigo Anton, who's in pole position at the moment. Now then, let's go with Otobiani. Let's see how quick he is. He pulled out of one lap, but this looks like he's on a fast lap in his Cupra Ammo.
Indeed, and he's going up against some other drivers who we can safely say are touring car specialists. Zaba Varga is a guy that I know of personally because he's from a team that I race for in Europe, Ballas Esports. So shout out to the Ballas boys if they're watching this. For example, like Giacomo and all those other guys, including Beppe, the team boss. He'll be happy to watch his driver on right now. But we're looking at Otobiani for TX3, and it looks good here. 1/10 up. In fact, almost 2/10 up in the second sector. He's going purple here.
Certainly is. He's looking very, very good. Is Alessandro Otobiani. Back-to-back wins as he comes into the home straight for the last time. How quick is he? Currently, Anton, 1:51.996 is the time to beat. He's obliterated it. It's a 1:51.253, 4:89 actually, which is 5/10, half a second quicker than Inigo Anton. That is seriously quick.
Yeah, that's seriously quick. And Scott Lee's got it up to second place in the Alpha. So almost 5/10 off. But yes, absolutely blistering lap time. And he actually aborted his first lap. So guess it didn't really affect him. He can still go on with it. Get on with the show.
Varga is quick, but not quick enough. 3/10 down through sector 2. Again, we're looking around about the 1:51.5 to get onto pole position. To get onto the front row of the grid, you've got to be inside 1:52. Is he looking good for that, Varga? Your pal from Hungary. Not many people can say that from Southeast Asia, can they?
Yeah, and as you said, one of those drivers that will be... Oh, never
pulled it
mind.
out.
Yeah, I was about to say, one of those drivers that looking to actually impress on his home ground, and what a way to do so, to have his debut in the championship.
How about the youngsters? How about our youngsters, the likes of Axel Nocom? Because competing in this quality of field will do no harm whatsoever to the likes of Axel, who's just posted a 8/10 down. He's in P8 as Axel.
And nothing to be sneezed at. He's within that second behind Otobiani. So he's done himself a world of good here to be within that second of Otobiani. He can still be within that top 10. For example, like 6th place right now is being held by the Slovenian Hujek and Ri in 5th place. That's not far off. He can still target those lap times.
Scotty Lee, fastest through sector 1. A 39.1. Let's see what his split time is through the end of sector 2. Is he able to challenge Otobiani? If he does, ooh, he's 1/10 down. But he's still within a margin of error there, Amo.
Indeed, and he can still make it up in that final sector, and the Alphas are good through these corners, so it's still not over yet, and Otobiani has actually backed it off. He's actually still in the garage, so we will not see him improve his lap time, but Scott Lee may be able to as the result screen prematurely comes up before we get to see if he can improve that lap time.
But he's still on the circle. Hujdek from Slovenia in 2, Otobiani in 1. Scotty Lee, is he able to get inside that 1:51.379? He's coming up to the start-finish line just about now, and Scotty Lee has improved to P2, just inside Hujdek's time, but can't get the better of Alessandro Otobiani. This Italian racer, Amo Hazik, is definitely the man to beat. Terrific performance from Inigo Anton in that company of racer to get himself on the second row of the grid.
Yeah, and you look at that top 10, a very international list of drivers, all the way from Slovenia to Hungary, Italy, and then coming up to the Southeast Asian region, and all the way to Australia. What an absolutely in-class field of drivers. And Otobiani proving to be the best of the bunch in qualifying.
Wow, so I really enjoyed that, Des. I thought that was quite an enjoyable race, qualifying. Scott Lee, though, there. Surprising, huh? Great to see him back. And, you know, purple in Sector 1, wasn't able to hold it to Sector 2 and 3. But the Hong Kong driver, I think, would definitely be a factor today.
So how to stop Otobiani, though, Alex? I think that is the big question for everybody on the circuit.
Got to get a good start. Start's going to be key. If you can get a good start, we know how difficult it is to overtake. So that run down to turn 1 is going to be super important.
Okay, we are all just set. The red lights are on, and when they go, we are underway. Alessandro Otobiani from Italy is on the front row of the grid. He's on the right of the screen. The virtual drivers in the Cupra, and he's got off to a flying start, as has the man, Huzdek, just behind him. And Scotty Lee has been left a little bit. Inigo Anton in P3. Scotty Lee has lost 2 places, but it's Otobiani and Huzdek who've got off to a brilliant start, Ammo.
Yep, indeed, and they got the whole shot through there. The Cupras are good off the line, pretty much like the Megans. Only second best to the Megans, I would say, but that is still enough for them to actually get up to the front. And the 2 teammates for Virtual Drivers by TX3 lead the way with Anton. A good start from him in the Audi, up to 3rd place.
I tell you who else got a good start, Haris Zephi. We didn't really mention him, but the local Malaysian, he's got himself up into P7, driving the Hyundai.
And the Hyundai might be at a bit of a disadvantage, especially on a circuit where there's not that many straights. The Hyundai is a bullet on the straights, but through the corners it's not so good. But so far, at least, he can hang it with him, and he's going on to the inside of Sebastian Ree, and Ree might need to look on his mirrors right now.
Yeah, but it's Alessandro Otobiani who leads the way. Got off to a good start. That's exactly what everybody else had to do. Huzdek did exactly that. Inigo Anton not too far behind though. Inigo Anton has still got the 2 Europeans in his sights, Ammo.
Yep, the Italian and the Slovenian still within earshot of him, and he might probably start thinking about trying to actually close up the gap initially before having to conserve these tires. And I think these guys are running about ×4 tire wear to convert with Alex, but really, we saw what happened last week with Ree having a puncture. That could still happen with these guys as Scott Lee tries to go around the outside through turn 12, but Anton manages to hold on to it, and this is not what he wanted. This will cost both of them time to catch up to the Virtual Drivers by TX3.
It also means that Varga's got a chance to close in on the 2 Asian racers as well. Really is very much a European and Asian feeling to this. Plus a little bit of Australia in there. The Philippines have got plenty of competitors, and there's youngsters and there's oldies. It's a terrific collection of racers. Varga in P5, but it's Otobiani. Oh, absolutely skating away. 6/10 clear of Huzdek, and Huzdek himself is 1.4 seconds clear of Anton and Lee.
Indeed, and these 2 drivers are now running pretty much in formation. Despite Huzdek and Otobiani being teammates, I think Huzdek might try to give a bit of a fight to his de facto, you might say, team leader, because Otobiani normally is the touring car specialist and dominates the leaderboards. So I guess we're going to have the same kind of situation like in race 1 at Aragon, where Otobiani has to look in his mirrors in the last few laps.
Yeah, you said, have you raced with Huzdek? Do you know a lot about him? You say you know Varga. Do you know much about Huzdek?
Unfortunately, not so much, because Varga is a teammate I know of from Ballas, while the virtual driver of the TX3 guys like Otobiani and Huzdek, I rarely race with him, so not much I know about him, unfortunately.
Ladies and gentlemen, mark this day down in your diary. Ammo did not have an answer to a racing question. A famous, famous day. Right, let's have a look at the likes of Ayman Akin, Tadashi. We haven't been giving him a lot of love recently. He's fallen out of the leaderboards, but here he is in P10. Just at the moment, Tadashi in the Alfa Romeo, which looks beautiful on the circuit, must confess. But Tadashi struggling a little bit down in P10 in this company.
Yeah, he normally excels in touring car races, especially if it's in the WTCR and in Audi. But look at that, he's going for the inside onto Voltaire Seiko and gets 9 places away. That's a good move, but I think Seiko might want to attack back, coming through turn 13. Yes, he does. Oh, sideways he goes. And Ayman manages to hold on to it. Front wheel drive absolutely helped him out there. He can just powerball the throttle and save it.
Certainly did, just managed to hold on. Let's go back up to the top end, and Inigo Anton is the man in P3. He's the only one who's able to hold on, but he's got a slow down penalty for track limits abuse. As he tries to cling on to the top 2, he will be throwing that car around this circuit, Ammo.
Indeed, and we already had Scott Lee coming to the back of him before. He tried to move around the outside through turn 12. Didn't make it that time, and Scott made his intentions known by flashing at him using his front headlights. So really, Anton here under severe pressure to hold on to a podium position, and a good start to the season though. He's been having really good runs so far in the TCR cars.
certainly has. Okay, let's just go down a little bit further. Second Italian is not having such a good time. Alessandro Otobiani again in the Cupra, down in P15. He's got Alan Drake Cruz just ahead of him, and he's got Mark Valter Elman. So the Filipinos taking this opportunity to race with this international competition. Tonyin, though, not having being able to make a mark. Darren Two-Wheel Ivan, as he's calling himself now, from Blue Steel Racing. He's got himself up into P13. He won one of the races earlier on in the silver edition, but this is a step up in class, Ammo.
Indeed, and right now running in that top 15, which will give him 3 points right now for 13th. But I guess so far at least it's a bridge too far. But I have every faith in Darren that he could still bring a surprise here to finish his top 10, because he has raced against some fierce opposition in other touring car championships in Asia.
We will revisit the lower reaches a little in a short while. But Alessandro Otobiani, 1.5 seconds clear. Double winner last week in Aragon. First race here, it's looking like it's his to lose. Although, to be fair, we've only had 1/3 of the race. But he was fastest in qualifying, and he's hardly put a wheel wrong as he takes the lead over into lap 4 by 1.6 seconds ahead of Hujdek, the Slovenian Inigo Anton. A further 2 seconds adrift. In fact, Anton under pressure now from Scotty Lee. Let's go and have a little look at that one, Ammo.
Yeah, Lee actually looked through on the inside. He got pushed into the wall there, almost like Schumacher Barrichello style back in 2010. And Anton just manages to hold on to that. I think that was fair because he did hold on to the inside line before coming to the corner. He got back on this racing line, not going into a double switchback. But this might be a problem here because look at that. Oh, nearly got it. He managed to hold on to it well, because I thought he was just going to overshoot. Because in touring cars, the moment that you stamp on the brakes, if you put on it the second time, your car's going to overshoot. And Anton, luckily, still held on to 3rd place here, just for now. But Scott Lee, the others right behind him, might be looking tempted here to take away 3rd place from the fast Filipino.
Yeah, let's have a look at that battle behind them. Scotty Lee is in 4th, but Saba Varga, rather than looking ahead, he's got Sebastian Ray from Germany in his wing mirror, and Haris Sefi not too far behind those two either. So a European battle for P5 with a Malaysian coming in. In fact, 2 Malaysians are following, because Tadashi has overtaken Axel Nockham into P7, P8.
Yeah, man, can we go to that battle, because that's an interesting one between Ayman and we lost one driver. One driver has actually dropped out of the race, and it looks like Varga. So Varga has actually been disqualified for too much track limits infringement. Unfortunately, that's welcome to eRGP, we can safely say. We follow the normal rules of convention of how you run sim races. It's just how you can use them without getting disqualified. That's another matter. So sorry to Zaba there. He's gonna have to refocus for race 2.
Well, there is Mr. Varga, disappearing into the sunset, and we will indeed go and look at that battle you were talking about. Ayman Hakim, Tadashi, Haris Sefi, Axel Nockham and Ayman Haziq, 3 Malaysians and the Filipino battling for the positions P6 onwards.
Yeah, I want to focus on this one because it's kind of like the Jedi versus Sith type of argument if we could go for a Star Wars reference, because Ayman was formerly a tutor to Haris, and they both kind of like had a bit of a disagreement one way or another along the lines, and Ayman will try every possible way to actually try to make races interesting for himself and Haris, and look at that. We can still get a battle between these two. This is rivalry on track forming.
We are on board with Haris Sefi, and that is Ayman Hakim Tadashi, but Tadashi is under immense pressure himself from Axel Nockham. In fact, let's have a look from Axel Nockham. I keep having to pinch myself that this kid is literally a kid. He's still 9 or 10 years of age, Axel Nockham, but now driving with some seriously experienced European competitors.
Yeah, it's kind of like Max Verstappen when he rolled onto the scene in F1, how he rose to the top really quickly and really took the entire paddock by surprise. We're having equivalents here with Nockham. Just impressing. Look at that. He's racing against some of the best drivers in touring cars in not only Asia but Europe, and he's in that top 10. He can still get points out of this as well. This is like, well, one to watch out for in future seasons, and indeed in other competitions outside of eRGP for sure.
Let's move back to P3. Inigo Anton hasn't been able to shake off Scotty Lee, and you do suspect that Scotty Lee is just biding his time. There's 6 minutes left to go in this race, so you complete the time and then you complete that lap after the time has elapsed. So there's a lot of racing for Inigo Anton to have to defend against Scotty Lee. Ammo, does he have the ability to defend in that way?
I would say that Anton, yes, he has every ability that he has in his locker to defend tooth and nail for 3rd place, but it's against one guy who I know can be quite a wily character in terms of his racecraft. And he is also an expert in touring cars coming from Hong Kong as well. Hong Kong, Macau, any of those Far Eastern countries, they love their front-wheel drive cars. And Scott Lee is no exception, driving for both Macau Esports and Z Challenger. That's a top team in Hong Kong and Macau. He's trying to look on the inside, coming for a turn 1. He's actually gotten the room on the inside. Has he gotten the move done? No, Anton lures him in, and he manages to hold on to it. But this battle's still on here, coming through turn 2, Des.
I suspect this battle is going to go right the way for the remaining 5 minutes. 2/3 of the way through the race. Inigo Anton just holding on to Scotty Lee. Scotty Lee tries to switch back down the inside, but Anton will have the line coming into this right-hand corner. As you say, this is a battle royale. This is the battle for P3. Scotty Lee in the white, the Audi of Inigo Anton for Radial, isn't it? Sorry, I forgot his team. Got all excited. GT Radial Eurasia Motorsport holding on. But look at this. Sebastian Ray has joined that party for P3. And he's suddenly all over the back of Scotty Lee.
And I believe he might be having to conserve his tyres for the initial part of the race so that he doesn't end up getting to the puncture again. So the Absolute Motorsport team, yet another top team. If you look at race room leaderboards, if you see those two letters AM, you know that what they're all about. They're both fast in time trial and races, and Sebastian Ray is no exception. He unfortunately had the unfortunate incident of running into tire punctures at the end of the race, but in that first race. But now he's looking to actually make up for that by getting more podiums here in the second round, and looks as though he's gonna try to aim for the podium here, but conservatively. He doesn't want to attack just soon.
And he's got a little bit of time. There's still 4 minutes to go, plus the remainder of that lap. So where are we? That's probably going to be 3 laps. This plus 2 more, I suspect. No. This, 3 laps. What are we? 1:52. Yeah, just about. So 2 more laps after this.
Yep, 3 laps, and they don't have to. Yep, after this now 2 laps.
2 laps.
So they don't have to worry about fuel though, because I saw just now in the copper class. A couple of drivers, in fact 2 or 3, even 4 drivers ran out of fuel on the last lap. There's a bit of a collision between Anton and Scott Lee, and Lee goes on into the barriers. That's a big whack into the front, and Ree then, conservatism has actually gotten through, and now he's going to challenge for the podium. In fact, he is on the podium. He has taken away 3rd place from Anton. That's going to be looked into then, Des.
So Scotty Lee went into the back of Inigo Anton, but Anton, he also had some collateral damage. He's moved from P3 to P4, but the real man to benefit is Sebastian Ray from Germany in the Cupra. So it is Cupra 1, Alessandro Otobiani. It is Cupra 2 for Gregor Huzdek, and it is Cupra 3 for Sebastian Ray. And the bad news for Asian racers is it's Europe, ammo.
Yeah, in fact, Europe all the way here for the first 3 positions at least. The best of the Asians being Anton in 4th, but Haris and Ayman will have a look into that as... Oh! Haris goes off! He's into the barriers! Oh, that's a very bad end to the race. I think he's gotten a puncture, Des.
Well, Haris Zephi, you were just talking about him and how competitive he can be, but he is way down. He's just trying to get back in. You saw it just in the background of that shot, but now Haris Zephi is the last driver out on the circuit with a lot of damage there. So Europe, the best of the Asians, Inigo Anton, and he is a 2.5 clear of Ayman Hakim Tadashi.
Yeah, and Ayman actually will probably love to have a top 5 finish to start off this particular season, because he does love these touring cars, and probably will try to aim for a second race 2 win for sure. As we look further behind, this is Scott Lee, who's recovering after that big old whack in the wall. Look at that. There's the legacy of that. The damage on the front of that car makes the Giulia look a bit second-handed right now.
Scotty Lee, it's difficult. They've all got identical liveries, but that one in the middle is Scotty Lee. He's just behind Voltaire Seiko, and he's got Darren Rejan, and they go 3 abreast, just to make it impossible. That's like that trick, isn't it, where you put the ball in one of the buckets and move the buckets around. Impossible to watch. But Scotty Lee in P8. Let's go back up to the front, because Alessandro Otobiani, you need some TLC, my friend, because you've been on your own and untouched and uncuddled for such a long time. We need to give this fella some love, Amo Hazik.
Indeed. Amore, as we can simply say in Italian or French. It's just that this is simply yet another masterclass in driving. He has dominated all the races and qualified sessions so far, and I would hesitate to guess this might just be a grand slam if he could get past in race 2, of course, because barring if anything happens to him in race 2, he could get a grand slam for the season, Des.
Possibly. He's also got the fastest lap here, a 1:51.861. Nobody else has been inside 1:52, so that's 0.3 seconds faster than Huzdek. If I just go on board with him for you, Amo, can you just try to explain what he's doing so well? Because it's almost like he's on a train on tracks.
Unfortunately, I cannot see what's his throttle and brake input because that will definitely tell how he actually drives this. But look at that. It's just smooth input, a bit over 90 degrees, which is a given because these cars are front-wheel drive. But other than that, it's just smooth all the way, and he comes to the final corner here.
As he comes to the final corner, this will be win number 3 out of 3. Alessandro Otobiani takes the victory. Huzdek on debut comes through in P2. Sebastian Ray for Germany in P3. Inigo Anton, the best of Asia, in 4 ahead of Tadashi. Axel Nokom, a very, very competent P6 for the young Filipino, ahead of Ayman Haziq and Scotty Lee. But Otobiani, Amo, before we have a quick interview with him, he certainly is the man to beat.
Absolutely, and remember last time out in Season 6 how Naki Bazlan was in Imperious Bomb, almost impervious? Same thing we can apply here to Otobiani.
Okay, let's speak to Alessandro. Alex Young is speaking to the race winner.
Alessandro, well done. Congratulations on your 3rd win out of 3. Was it as simple as it looked?
Thank you. Honestly, I really love this track. With touring car is incredible. You need always to be on the edge. You need to jump in the curb, especially in some chicane, in some corner, quite a lot. And it was quite difficult because with the ballast, with 25 kilos of ballast, the car lost always in the straights 1/10 or maybe a little bit more. So especially in the first sector, I had a big penalty for the balance, but I tried to manage the tires in the last part of the race, and I tried just to push like hell in the first laps because I knew I need to push a lot in the first lap and try to create a gap. And I'm quite happy, not also for me, but for my teammate, because he scored a good podium, a P2. So I'm happy for the team.
Wow. Okay, well, fantastic. Congratulations. We'll let you get ready for race 2. Race 2 is coming right up. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alessandro Otobiani, back-to-back wins in eRGP Season 7. Absolutely the man to beat. I won't say it's exactly his championship to lose. However, it will take somebody to be really impressive to get the better of him. And it's a European 1, 2, 3. Race 2 will be coming up. It's a reverse grid race coming up in just a very, very short while. Amo will rejoin us. Amo, just quickly, I'm assuming you're still on the line. Otobiani, we asked beforehand, or I asked beforehand, how you get the better of him. You said, get a good start. This time, Otobiani's going to be a little bit further down the grid because it's a reverse grid race. How do you stop him? Not how do you beat him, how do you stop him?
Let's just hope that the Constantina effect and other drivers who are equally desperate trying to get up to the front will prevent Otobiani from going any further up. And it can still be possible because it's quite difficult to overtake here at the Hungarian. So that will be the only thing to prevent Otobiani from having a clean sweep of the season.
Well, he is quite a way down. He's on P14. It's a reverse grid of P14, so that's where he'll be starting on the circuit. And we are underway on race number 2. Mark Voltaire Elman, as we just wait for the cars to actually appear on the screen for us. It's a little bit of an illusion, but Mark Voltaire Elman is the man who's on the starting grid. The cars will come. They will eventually arrive. Alan Drake Cruz is in P2. Otobiani was starting in P14. He's got himself up to P13. Slowly but surely the cars magically appear. We just had a little glitch, so we had to get in. But at the moment, it's Mark Voltaire Elman who has the lead from Alan Drake Cruz. Brody Steen is the man who's got himself up into P3. So Otobiani hasn't made a magical start up into P12, Amo. Is that good enough for him, do you think?
So far, at least he's gotten rid of at least 2 of his main competitors. So being ahead of them is a psychological advantage for now. In fact, he's also in front of his teammate, which is, of course, Gregor Huzdek. He's on the inside of Ayman Hakim, and he's going to battle with Scott Lee and the rest of the field here. While he's making his way fast through the field as an Alpha goes completely sideways through the chicane. Oh, that's going to actually hurt. That's going to give him a few incident points.
Wow, that is going to hurt, but he's got himself up into P10. or 11. We're not quite sure. He's level with Scotty Lee. In fact, he's just got himself ahead of Scotty Lee, but a lot of dust being kicked up. Inigo Anton is in that little group as well. So Anton's got himself into P9. He's in the DHL yellow for GT Radial Eurasia Motorsport in the Audi. Up at the front though, now we've got all the cars have magically appeared on the circuit. Mark Walter Ellman, who is quick. He can be very quick. He's in the Alpha, which is a lovely nippy vehicle for this circuit. Is he good enough to hold on, Mamo?
Well, if whatever happened in the silver cars was anything to go by, it's basically deja vu right now. He's gonna have to hold on from Alan Drake Cruz, but this time he managed to get ahead of him without having to bump himself out of the way. So Ellman just needs to get that Alpha working immediately as possible to stand any chance of claiming a reverse great win.
Do you like the Alpha for this circuit?
I love the Alpha actually. I wouldn't love the Alpha if it was a car from a couple of years back where it was absolutely crap. But the development that has gone into this car made it absolutely better than before. So I would take the Alpha over every other car any day, to be honest.
Alan Drake Cruz in P2. Brody Steen from Australia, another guy who we know in spells can be super duper quick. He's in the Hyundai, which you said can be very quick on the long straights, but you don't have the long straights here. But at the moment holding on to P3 ahead of the second or the first of the Italians on this particular event, Alessandro Otobiani. But Brody Steen, should we be expecting more from Brody Steen?
Well, we say expecting more as in like results. Well, he is actually consistently up in the points there, but in terms of championship fights, maybe a bit of a bridge too far for him. But nonetheless, he's a safe pair of hands. He knows how to get into the, in this case, top 10 for the second race and top 15 the first race. Points for him is pretty much a given. Just that unfortunately he just doesn't have that extra bit of oomph to get up into championship contention yet.
Let's talk about Alessandro Otobiani though, looking for a fourth straight win. He's had to come back from P14. He's got himself up into P9 and he's seriously on the challenge on the shoulder of Ayman Hazik with Voltaire Seiko in front of them. But it does look to be very, very crowded out there. Somehow this circuit seems to be very claustrophobic.
Indeed, it's always been like the Monaco, but without the buildings as they call it in the real world. It's just that impossible to overtake. But it has produced memorable races, not to say the least not just in F1, but also in touring cars. And this is no exception. We're seeing virtually how a reverse great race can just create a bit of excitement, albeit a little bit arbitrarily, as Otobiani then lines up behind one Alpha, switches to the other one, and he knows full well that the other Alpha can actually send it one on the inside. He's between both of them, and does he make the move stick? Yep. Ayman Hazik just gives a bit of room. No, in fact, that's Seiko. So Seiko gave a bit of a room to Otobiani and Ayman Hazik, and now they're both up one position ahead of that Filipino.
They are indeed. Voltaire Seiko dropped down from P7 to P9. Inigo Anton having a bit of a tough time as well. He's down in P10. Up at the front though, it's another pair of Filipinos. Mark Walter Ellman, who's got a lot more experience than Alan Drake Cruz, but these two have pulled away. A second and a half clear of Alessandro Otobiani, and we've had a third of the race.
And indeed, that is also helped by the fact that Brody Steen has been overtaken by not only Alessandro Otobiani, but Darren Ivan Rajan as well. So the two guys, when they were squabbling for positions, have actually given a bit of a breathing space for Voltaire Ellman and Drake Cruz. So about 1.7 seconds right now, with the best of the rest being Darren Ivan for the time being.
Yeah, you just mentioned Darren Ivan. He's changed his name. Darren Two-Wheel Ivan, he's calling himself now, just to confuse us. But he got himself ahead of Tunyon, as Tunyon got himself ahead of Axel Knockom. And Brody Steen has actually been pushed back from P3 as was down to P6. It's a familiar tale for the Australian Brody Steen. But this is a good little battle, and Darren Two-Wheel Ivan from Blue Steel Racing, he has currently got into P3 as Knockham repinches P4 ahead of Tunyon.
Well, he didn't retake P4. He actually has gotten P4 for the first time for Tunyon. And what a move around the outside there. We unfortunately just saw the start of it. We missed how he actually just held it around the outside. But Knockham showing how it's done here. And he's not even 10 years old. He has absolutely shown that age is not a barrier when you want to be competitive in sim racing.
Alessandro Tunyon needs just to settle down. He pulls out of the slipstream. He will try to get the inside line on this corner number 1 as they come on to lap 4. And Knockham, I may be young, but my word, you're going to have to drive better than that. Otherwise, I'm going to knock you out the way.
In fact, that particular time, Tonyan actually tried to overtake and nearly barged Axel out of the way, but luckily Axel held his ground, held the tighter line, and manages to switch back and regain 4th position. But now he's got an even tougher opponent in the form of another Italian, Alessandro Otobiani, right behind him. This will be his biggest test so far.
Otobiani has quietly manipulated his way up to P5. He is a master craftsman, we can say this one. And there is Otobiani on the inside of Axel Nocom, and he's gone up 1 place already. He's up into P4, and that was like taking candy from a baby.
Literal baby, in terms of age at least. Nocom actually just made it a bit easy for him because I think he knows full well that he probably doesn't want to hold back somebody who's just that much faster and unnecessarily create more kerfuffle between that midfield. So he's done the wise thing of actually just letting him by easily so that he doesn't lose too much time for himself. But all the while then, the guys behind are still right up to the back of that again and trying to overtake him.
Remember, kerfuffle is trademark for Alex Young. Not allowed to use it. Mark Voltaire-Elman is the man who still has the lead, though. I asked the question a while ago, Amo, was he good enough to hold on? Tell you what, he's not only holding on, he's extending that lead as we approach halfway.
And that was by virtue of the fact that he managed to get some clean air between himself and Cruz, and also for the fact that when both of them were actually leading the way, the rest of that top 10 were fighting each other. So that has given them the opportunity to make the beeline for it, and this is helping. With 7.5 minutes left to go, Elman here is looking likely to be the surprise winner of the season.
He's just got to make sure he doesn't make any mistakes, because he's got 1.5 seconds over Alan Drake Cruz, nearly another second on two-wheel Ivan, and nearly another half a second on Otobiani, although Otobiani, it must be said, is closing in at a rate of knots.
Yeah, indeed, and you can't discount him out from even trying to get a win even here right now, because 7 minutes left to go. Anything can still happen, and if any one of those drivers in front of Otobiani make a mistake, starting with Darren Ivan, that will just make the job easier for Otobiani.
Just going down, Hujdek, who had a very, very good race number 1. He's not having such an easy time in race number 2. He's down in P12, out of the points at the moment. It's Scotty Lee he's chasing, with Tadashi just ahead of them. So it's not all plain sailing, and we shouldn't just assume that the likes of Hujdek and the likes of this team on the Cupra would actually be able to make their way through. It just emphasizes how good Otobiani's been.
Indeed, and he can just sieve his way through the field as if that he's running on AI at 0% even, because that's how easy that he's got them through. Normally, like what happened in the other classes where the guys who won the race, they had found it, they kind of made a meal of it trying to overtake the guys in front. But Otobiani, well, it's cakewalk. He's now up to the cusp of the podium, and Darren Ivan Rajan might need to start looking at his mirrors here. As look at that, even his car has his name on it. That's how official he is.
So Otobiani currently in P4. He's won the first 3 races of this season. It might be a little bit too much for him to win it 4 out of 4, but he's certainly going to get some big points, and he's chasing a podium literally on the bumper of Darren Regent. And Darren is a tasty driver in his own right as well. Here's the opportunity as Voltaire goes through, Alan Drake Cruz goes through. Not maybe quite in the slipstream as they come down the hill. Moves out. Where's the defensive move coming here from Rajan? Rajan doesn't make the move. Otobiani, it's almost like his reputation goes before him, and drivers let him go through, Amo Hazik.
Yeah, I'm surprised there as well, because this is the second time that we've seen that. Nocom being the other one giving an easy run for him, but it's probably because some of these guys just want to have a good, promising finish in this race. They just don't want to put up too much of a fight. Not even to a guy who's just absolutely quick. They just didn't want to hold him back.
So Otobiani's now got himself into P3. Let's go and have a look at Mark Voltaire-Elman. Well, he was on pole. It took a while for the actual graphics to show that he was in the lead, but he's never been out of the lead, Amo. So to lead from start to, well, 2/3 of the way through the race is impressive in its own right. If he goes from start to finish, it'll be a sensational victory.
Absolutely, and that will just, give it takes a bit of a shine away from Otobiani, but it just proves that how competitive the other drivers can be. And for Elman, that's a big confidence booster for him, because I don't think he has actually won a race yet in eRGP.
He's certainly been on podiums, but I think you're right. I'd need to go through the records on that. But Mark Voltaire-Elman in P1 at the moment. But Alan Drake Cruz has closed what was a 1.5 seconds down to just a second. 4 minutes still to go. There's still a lot of racing going on, and Alan Drake Cruz is being pushed by Alessandro Otobiani.
This will be interesting. Whether or not Drake Cruz will either give an easy run for Otobiani or he will defend a bit harder. And judging by how he did in the silver class, he might just defend a bit harder. But having said that, he gives a bit of a room to Otobiani. He ran a bit wide. Now he's going to have to go defensive.
So Alan Drake Cruz in P2 has to defend. Otobiani will surely pull out of that slipstream in a moment as they come over the crest of the hill. It's Mark Voltaire Elman who leads. Alan Drake Cruz defends. Otobiani goes around the outside. Alan Drake Cruz tries to hold on. What kind of a drive out does Otobiani have? There's contact between Alan Drake Cruz and Otobiani. The youngster not giving an inch to the famed Italian.
Ho ho ho! Looks like he's the complete opposite from Nocom. He tries to defend, and we saw that in the silver race, how much he had to defend to actually get positions, but unfortunately to his detriment, he lost out on the top 5 position twice, but now he's defending second place away from Otobiani. Well, he's not letting reputation of Otobiani phase him. He is putting up a great fight here for the audience.
Really frustrating for Otobiani, but great entertainment. Eventually, Otobiani finds a little bit of a gap through at the near side, and a brave resistance is ended. And also, Darren Rejan is able to come through into P4, and he's closed in on the top 2. But Otobiani has got himself up into P2, and he's only a second down on Mark Voltaire Elman. Now then, can he hear the pitter-patter of Otobiani's little rubber toes coming for him? 2:13 left. There'll be 2 laps, won't there? Will there be 2 laps?
No, one. I think the next time by will be just 1 lap. It could just be enough time for Elman to claim a victory here, but I don't think he can afford to back off. Lap times around 140s, right? Or maybe 150s actually.
154. So
next time by is last lap.
Yeah, so this is the last lap now coming up. Once they go over the start-finish line, I think Elman was hoping that he might be quick enough for this to be the last lap, but you fear for Elman. You fear that Alessandro Otobiani has timed this to perfection. Not close enough to get into the slipstream here, but the pressure will be completely on Mark Voltaire Elman in this last lap. He's been in the lead for so long, but now it could be snatched away from him, Amo.
Yep, indeed, and this he will be his heart will be sinking at the rate of knots here right now, because he knows full well that he's gonna have to defend as hard as he could in this final lap. The other guys, especially like Cruz, have done an absolute job for him to try to defend as much as they could, but unfortunately Otobiani has actually picked his way through. Now it's up to Elman here to defend with all his might to get his first ever win in the RGP.
Alessandro Otobiani has shown that he is a master craftsman. Gets very, very tight up onto the back of Mark Voltaire Elman. Tries to squeeze through on the inside. The only consolation for Mark Voltaire Elman, this is the last lap. Otobiani had to come from P14 in the grid. They go through the chicane. They've completed half a lap. Can Voltaire Elman hold on?
Oh, this is really, really tense stuff here, and the Filipino guys will probably be willing him on from a distance to help him try to get his first win of the season. He's only got at least about 2 overtaking spots at best, because turn 12 you can actually make a move, and turn 13 now he's defending on the inside. He's gonna have to hold on here. If he could actually get the braking right, that'll be it. Otobiani has nowhere to go. He's around the outside. Otobiani nearly gets it, and they go door to door. Good defending from Elman.
Mark Voltaire Elman defends successfully on one occasion. Otobiani tries to go around the outside. Is he able to carry the speed through? Mark Voltaire Elman just loses it. Otobiani on the final corner. Alessandro Otobiani makes it 4 wins out of 4 on the final corner. What a comeback. Immense sympathies to Mark Voltaire Elman. But what a drive from Otobiani. Oh, that was thrilling, genuinely thrilling. Drake Cruz third, Ivan Regan fourth, Axel Knock-on fifth, but Alessandro Otobiani. Wow, wow, wow. Alex Young, your thoughts?
Yeah, interesting race. Good win there for Otobiani. Elman is second there. Let's look at the grid there. Drake Cruz third, Darren Ivan fourth, Knock-on fifth, Tonong 6, Keem 7, Anton 8, Azik 9, Bujik 10th. But yeah, my thoughts, good drive Otobiani, but I was very disappointed with the racecraft there. Basically from the field. I couldn't believe the amount of drivers that were opening doors for Otobiani just on because of his reputation. That was really disappointing. Because when we race, these are supposed to be called race car drivers. I'm just going to call them drivers from now on. Because they weren't racing. I only saw Alan Drake Cruz try and make a good race of that. So, I mean, Otobiani deserved the success there, but I was so surprised how many drivers just opened the door for Otobiani. It was quite surprising, no?
Well, why don't you bring a party down? Well, Alex Young, proper analysis there. Amo, would you agree with what Alex says there? We mentioned it in the commentary that it was a bit easy, but to be fair, Alan Drake Cruz and Mark Voltaire Elman at the end really did give it a shot.
Yeah, I disagree. Ayman Haziq was made it very easy. Darren Ivan actually moved out of the way for Otobiani, and I was just like, I mean, because if it's been some of the other races or if some of the other drivers, you defend, and as a race car driver, you're expected to defend. It's a bit like, I don't know, it's after you racing. Yeah, I mean, Otobiani, great, deserved that. Great hard racing. I loved how Alan Drake Cruz was racing really hard. But in racing, if you're not going to go for the gap, or if you're not going to defend the corner, then you're not racing. Senna said it. It's the same thing. So, yeah, I was a bit disappointed. Hopefully, when we come back for round 3, the others there will decide to turn up and become race car drivers.
That's why he's the big boss. Be scared. Be very scared.
Yeah.
So, Alessandro Otobiani, the story of the day, made it 4 wins out of 4. Do we still have Alessandro? Do you want to talk to him, Alex?
Yeah, let's see if we can try and talk to Alessandro. If Alessandro is still there. Yeah, he's still there on the Zoom. Let's try and grab him.
Let's see if Alessandro agrees with you that it was easy.
He'll say it wasn't. He won't say it was easy. Alessandro. I mean, it wasn't easy. He came from really far back.
Oh, P14.
Yeah, you know what I mean? He had to be decisive with the overtaking moves, and he was. So let's just try and talk to him now. Alessandro, can you hear us?
Yes. I can hear you.
What a great race. I mean, you made it, you did it on the very last lap, very last corner of the race. Were there any complications along the way?
Yeah, it was a very tough race, very exciting for sure, because a lot of battles, very close racing. I love it. And in this track, it's really difficult to pass, not only with cars like Formula 1 or Formula 2, but it's also difficult with touring cars.
Yeah.
And I think, especially in the last few minutes in the race for the P4, P3, it was very complicated to deal with the other guys, because someone tried to defend very hard. But I'm quite happy because I did a quite good overtake. So I'm really happy. I can do a compilation. So I'm really, really happy with that race.
Around the outside of the penultimate corner, that's not an easy place to overtake. And the way you did it on Elman was spectacular indeed. But just moving forward, that's 4 wins out of 4. That's pretty much a championship wrapped up, I think. Not quite, obviously. You still got to turn up for next week. I mean, what are you thinking about the championship? You must be, with only one more round to go.
Oh yeah, for sure. I will do the next round in the same way of these two. So full throttle, max attack, and try to win. This is my mindset at the moment. So
absolutely.
Yeah, I think I have a good gap, but for sure I will do the next weekend like this too.
Yeah, absolutely. We love watching you. You're full attack driver, and we look forward to seeing you next week. Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Alessandro. Alessandro Otobiani, winner of both races today, both races in round 1. I was thoroughly excited by the win in race number 2, but Alex, absolutely, he's right on these things just about every time. Big thanks to Amo Haziq for another fine commentary performance via Discord. It's never easy via Discord when we're in remote. Thanks to Alex for sorting it out, and Amita, who's the producer of what goes on eRacing GP. We've got one more round before the season reaches a conclusion. That is next weekend, next Saturday. We'll see you for the 4 championships that we've got. Until then, bye for now.
Bye.